In this example here, looking at the IEBGENER that we have been looking at before. In this case, notice now that we have all of these different DD statements to indicate exactly what we want done. We have a sysprint DD name indicating that we have output going to a sysout A queue. Our sysin dataset is a DD dummy indicating that it is an empty file. Our sysut1 identifies our input dataset, and so in this case we've provided a dataset name and a disposition of share indicating that we're willing to share it with anyone else for read access. Our sysut2 indicates that we are creating a new dataset. We have a disposition indicating that it is new and we want to catalog it once we are done processing. Our unit parameter indicates it's sysda, which is a disk dataset. Our DCB parameter indicates the records are 80 byte long with a record format that is fixed blocked. And our space parameter indicates we want to reserve one cylinder of primary space and one cylinder of secondary space in the event that the dataset needs to grow. So in this case, we have several examples then of various DD statements indicating both output queue processing, dummy processing, an existing data set that we simply want to read, as well as a new data set that we are creating for output. And this is the basis by which JCL functions. Now, it may seem that there's a lot of confusion sometimes around which parameters to code and which ones do you need to use, but for the most part, you'll find that it really comes down to a very simple set of rules. If the data set exists, you really only need the data set name and the disposition parameter. If the data set is new, you need the disposition and the data set name, but you also need to tell the system what device, what the DCB attributes are, and what the space allocation is. Which means that a new data set is typically going to require 5 parameters if it's on disk, 2 parameters if it already exists. And that's really it. The rest of it becomes sort of refinements in the event that you have something a little more exotic, in which case you would want to look up those parameters in the JCL reference manual anyway. But this is going to suffice for 99.9% of your JCL needs. And so these are the parameters that you want to remember, as well as what the coding options are for putting these together. Here's an example of JCL errors that you may occur. Notice in this case here, what we've done is that statement 3, we've misspelled the sysout statement, and as a result, it's been identified as an invalid keyword. In this case here, what we've done is that notice that statement 4, which is the dataset name equals user.parmlib with jes2parm in parentheses. There is no disposition parameter coded here. As a result, the default is a disposition of new, delete, delete. But a new dataset requires a space parameter. Since that has not been coded, we see that the system has generated an error message indicating that the job failed because no space parameter was provided for the allocation of that dataset. And similarly, in this example here, we have the same thing. Since there's a comma that is missing between the member name and the disposition equals share, the disp equals share is treated as a comment, and as a result, we have exactly the same error condition with a default of disposition new, delete, delete, resulting in the space parameter being required.